we talked about the cultivating. I talked about my client. You know, it's the ongoing relationship that you're building. You're moving the relationship forward, and you're developing this personal relationship of value, okay? Now we're really lucky because what I'm going to ask you to do, I'm not going to, there's a lot of, you're supposed to be calling in this, but we don't have time for all that. But what I would ask each of you to do is to turn around for 5 minutes, partner up, okay? And just try one, on page 413, there's a couple of different scripts, okay? And here's the thing, it's not comfortable, but if you at least verbally do them with somebody, I think it helps us for when we get on the phone. So just choose, there's like 3 or 4 of them there. Take about 2 minutes and just talk them out with each other. Each of you do it to each other, just find a partner.
Guys, don't make me do this with Mary.
I'll do it. The fact that you do it with somebody, or you practice it in front of a mirror, if nothing else, or with your husband, whoever, your best friend, someone who won't make you feel stupid. Obviously, when you finally get to the point of prospecting, you'll be better. And that's the whole point. You want to be better. You don't want to make mistakes when you have the opportunity to actually get a lead. Although, here's the thing I would tell you about that. Look, we all make mistakes, okay? We're going to have the call that we're like, oh, that went real well. We all do. And you just look at what you did wrong, you know, evaluate it, say, okay, what part of the conversation went bad, and then try to fix it. I always hate it when you don't learn from mistakes. I mean, mistakes we're all going to have them. But don't just move on, evaluate. Sit down for a minute and say, okay, what did I do good in the, I come from pharmaceuticals and I was a trainer there. And we would always, after a call, we would sit down and go, okay, what did you think you did well in that call? Okay? And usually, it was always funny, the rep would say, I stunk, I was awful, I didn't do anything good, because we're our worst critics, right? And I would say, no, you know, I think, you know, I would point out 4 or 5 really key things that I thought they were really good at. Because everybody needs to feel good about something. So when you sit down, before you beat up on yourself, tell yourself you did some good things. And then I'd say, what do you think we could improve on? And that's, you know, they would go into a litany of things. And then I would just pick 1 or 2 things. Because if you want to improve on 50 things, you'll never improve on any of them. If you choose to really focus on one thing, kind of like Gary Keller says, and try to get better at that one thing, then the next call will be better because you chose to be focused on one thing that got better.
I want to brag on Rhonda. The one thing that I took from our role playing is when, and I was a hard sell, and so when she kept saying, you know, can we find a time that maybe we could have a quick lunch? And I said, okay, Thursday. And she said, just a moment, let me check my schedule and let me just make sure. Now, I like that because it lets them know that you also have a time, you know, restraint deal. And so that, and I told her that. I said, oh, I like what you did there. And the last thing is, I always try to ask for a referral, and it's hard.
Yep.
Sometimes before you hang up, you've got to say, hey, Rhonda, do you have anybody else that you might, that might be selling real estate or need to sell some real estate or have a potential client? And so that was the things that we got from our role playing.
This drove home really hard for me this last weekend. My daughter's applying to physician assistant school, and so we drove 13 hours to Roanoke, Virginia in the car all at the same time, and she had printed off all these questions that they asked in the interview. She already had one interview, didn't get the job, or didn't get the schooling. And so we spent 3 hours in the car, me asking her questions that they asked in PA school, like why should you give this to the person next to you, or an ethical question. And she went into that interview and she said, Mom, I cannot believe I did this and it worked. She got a call back, but the same thing, what she just said, you know, I cannot believe how role-playing with you, even though I got mad at you for correcting my answers or giving me suggestions, because we fought about it, you know, Mom, I'm not going to say that. But it prepared her for when they asked the question, that it was easier to say it after she had said it once. And so,
So again, it comes back to the prep time. You know, I mean, if you're gonna spend, and here's the thing I would tell you, as a new person in real estate, you got all kinds of time, okay? It's not like you have listings, you could spend 6 hours doing this, okay? And I would tell you, that's what I did. And that's why I went from selling 200,000 to 3 million. And that is the truth. There's nothing else other than the truth in that, because I didn't do anything else. I'm not that good at anything else. But I know the one thing in business that has always made me successful, and that is working with people, developing relationships, and that's just the gut of it. When you break it down and you peel back the onion, that's just it. This isn't complicated. This isn't rocket science. I don't have a magic bullet. It's just getting in front of as many people as you possibly can.
I have a question.
Yeah.
In this script, it says, now that we have spoken about referrals, you are likely to think of someone since I put the thought in your mind. What is that referring to? Is that referring to the, are you or anyone?
Like if a referral would be like, hey, if you have a friend or a family member that needs some real estate help, could you remember me?
So they're just assuming that we've done that somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, we have up in the upper portion of that.
Yeah.
The
What's
very
that?
top, at the very top of it, we did.
Number 2,
Number 2.
Okay, so that's what they're referring to, that's
Right.
where we asked, okay.
We've already planned
That would be more
yeah.
expansive there, probably.
So you've prepped your call list. I'm just gonna kind of go back over a few things. You've rehearsed your scripts. You're feeling confident. Your daughter was confident because she actually spent some time role-playing it out to get better when she got in front of the people she needed to be in front of. You've done positive affirmation. Now you're gonna take the 2 hours and you're gonna act and you're gonna participate and engage. And I gotta tell you guys, now, how would you have felt if I would have come in today and I wore my robe and I said, hey guys, sorry, I didn't really look over the materials, but I'm gonna teach this class. How would you feel? You know, you guys have spent your time coming to this place, you know, you could be doing a lot of other things. How would that make you feel? Okay, I'm just saying, when I go to work every day, I dress to be successful. I do, because I want to be successful, and I do a better job if I dress successfully. Whatever that may look like for you, you need to do that. You need to do your hair. You need to be, you know, take a deep breath. You need to, you know, if you need to stand up while you're calling to have energy, then do that. Do jumping jacks if you need to do it. I don't care what you do, but whatever makes you better, you need to be doing that to get ready to do this, because this is the most important thing.
Cheryl,
Yes?
I would think, for me, and maybe for everybody else here, just making Keller your own, to be connected and say, this is my business, this is my life, this is my family. And that's gonna come out in your dialogue on the phone. If you're proud, you're connected, you're knowledgeable, you're way out there on excitement.
something else, Diana Koska, is how you say everything. One of her videos, I watch a lot of their videos, she said she makes her assistant, or this guy makes his assistant has to take his cell phone away, has to take his laptop away, takes everything away in order to make those phone calls so you cannot get distracted.
I would tell you, I mean, I'm lucky enough to have Derek as my assistant, so he holds me accountable. You know, he does. Sometimes I don't like it when he holds me accountable. But at the end of the day, you need an accountability partner, okay? So if you're 2 people working together or you're 2 new agents, you know, find someone who will, you know, kind of be your cheerleader and also your accountability partner. It's just like working out, you know, if you have someone to do it with, you're probably gonna be much more motivated and do it and get it into the habit of doing it because you have someone doing it with you. And then when you have those discouraging days, and I mean, I would love to sit up here and say every day is bright and cheerful and I have awesome experiences and I never make a mistake and blah, blah, blah. But there are days that I walk into Derek's office and I say, you know, whatever I say. I get discouraged. but I just don't let it, I let it out, then I regather my focus, and then I go back and do what I do, and I tell myself I'm awesome, I'm great. And I remember, I talk about this all the time, but there was this YouTube video, okay, of this little girl who was 3 or 4. And her mom videoed her, and she got up there, and for 5 minutes, she did nothing but talk about, I'm awesome, I'm spectacular, I'm gorgeous, I'm phenomenal, I'm this, I'm that. I mean, for 5 minutes, she went on and on and on about herself. And I thought, that's, one, we should all feel that way about ourselves, bar our business. But 2, that's how you should feel about your business, okay? So anyways, 90% of success is your mindset. You know, what you see, think, feel is probably what you're going to translate into, you know, your business. You're going to come into maintenance, and maintenance is all the stuff that you're going to write down about your clients. Anything that's going to help you move the needle for the next appointment. Amateurs practice until they get it right. Professionals practice until they can't get it wrong.
I love that. That's awesome.
Pretty simple. So I always say the one thing that I always try to do is follow-up notes, okay? Track your results. Even if all you do, like what I do is I'll run off the expires, and I'll look at them, and I'll put the pile of yays and the pile of no's, you know, and then I just go back to the pile of yays, and I feel good about it for, you know, a little while, okay? And then I, you know, put them in my database. You guys have the KW database. It's perfect. You can use that. I use Google. I put them in my calendar. I know when I need to follow up with them. And track your results. When you get a listing appointment from 2 hours, maybe you need to put a calendar up that tells you, first of all, I would tell you to get you started and get in the habit. I would put a calendar up in your office, and I would put down maybe even the number of calls you make every day, okay? The number of calls you make every day. And after 3 months, you're going to see, wow, that 3 months, I did 10 calls every day, and I finally started seeing some success. So obviously, if you see it on a wall, you may feel better about where you're coming from and where you're going. And I'm going to tell you, I have been extremely successful in sales my entire life. This was rough. This was rough because I spent 8 months and sold $176,000. That's really discouraging. I'm just saying. So the things that encouraged me were the things that I'm just telling you, okay? Because you are now in a long-term relationship with people, okay? Long-term, did you hear me? Long-term. So it may take you 8 months or 9 months, and you've got to gut it out, okay? Okay. Anybody have any ahas that they want to share, like from Ignite so far? I'm going to go over just a few things because we're almost finished. We're almost running late. But any ahas from today?
Thank you for sharing what you just shared. Because now I feel like I'm on track because I felt like I was like way off track. And
You're not.
I was like bad.
No, you're not.
She moved herself inside my office just so she wouldn't stay home and drink coffee and read the newspaper.
Yeah.
Because if she's going to work, she's got to be in the office, and we've talked about that.
Yeah.
And it's not that she wasn't working.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
just a
and-
different kind of working.
And attending Ignite is kind of my getting used to up and out early in the morning, so that's why I'm here.
I would tell every one of you the other one thing I did besides prospecting last year is I attended anything and everything, okay? I went to every Ignite class, that was free, okay? These are all free, so it's great because it's free. Anything free you should be going to,
That's right.
okay? I went to, even when I wasn't making money, okay? I went to family reunion. I joined the luxury home division, and I went to Luxury Institute. I've been to at least 7 classes in the last year. Some of them I paid for, some of them I haven't. And here's the other thing. If you know someone in your office that you want to be, sit down with them and talk to them. Ask them to share things about what they do. I don't think there's one agent inside our company who isn't willing to do that for you. And if you get discouraged, Judy, just go talk to somebody. Because I think that's why we're all here. I think we all have discouraging moments, and that's just business in general. Sales is like that, you know? And so that being said, you're on track, you're good to go. So does anybody else have an aha that they want to share?
We were in Ignite the other day, and he was talking about the number two top reasons people fail in sales is because of lack of organization and reluctance. Reluctance really hit me because
You're afraid.
it's in everything in life. It's not just in this. It has to do with not taking care of bills or not dealing with things in your life and it's never going to go away. You have to face it.
Right.
So that really was an aha moment for me. And another thing too is with Keller Williams is you have such a team concept. In church yesterday, the pastor was talking about this marathon he was running. And
go to Woodland Hills?
Yeah, go to Woodland Hills. And he hit the wall at 22 miles or whatever. And everything was hurting in his body. And he said all of a sudden one of his friends just out of nowhere jumped and started running with him, saying the finish line is right there. You're almost there. And he said it goes back to affirmations. It's our mind.
Yeah.
And so it was excellent. So.
And I'm gonna say one more thing. There's a lot of new people in this room, and I'm certainly not a new person. And I know some of you've been with Keller Williams longer than I have, okay? But I don't come to Ignite just to read these scripts and put them in my life. I come to Ignite for the same reason that Sharol said. Derek came to work for her and put a knot in her tail. My son came to work for me, and literally, he said, Mom, I can't believe you've been doing this long, and you are so disorganized. And I thought I was organized. I thought I was organized. So there are better ways to do things in a better way.
Yeah.
There are, and that's the reason I come. I want to come and look and read, and if I can't be here, because we were in state meetings all last week, if I can't be here, I read those. And because I've never had anything like this. And I fought hard on the education committee to have this open to everybody. Because it is the best material I've ever seen. I don't care where you are in your real estate. So,
Speaking of material, the other day I was talking, after our night, I was talking with
Tori.
And with,
Christine.
I'm sorry,
No,
I'm really
you're
bad
fine.
about names.
It's okay,
I
it's
sometimes
our
don't
age.
remember my
And that's
own.
fine.
Probably, okay. And I had my notes in my hand. I laid them over there where Christine, on the table where Christine is sitting, walked off and left all of my notes. I can't get those back in. I had notes I had wrote on there. But is there any way I can get those?
It's on the KW site.
It's on the KW.
This is all
No,
printable.
I mean, literally in my hand.
Yes, it's on the KW
I
site.
had
You can
read
print it
them
off.
at home.
Just go into the office and
Ask one of the
Missy.
people like Jen or someone, she
Yeah.
can show you how to get to it.
Missy will do it.
I know that.
All right, well, I'm going to quickly tell you 4:15 through 4:18 are some great examples of conversations, scripts that you might use to help you in your business. I'm going to tell you that. Then I'm going to tell you, the biggest part of this is taking action. Did you know that mindset represents 90% of success? In bold, you will reprogram your thinking and expand your horizon and grow your potential. It's about growing your own potential, okay? Then I'm gonna, obviously I can't get through all of this, but a couple things I'm gonna show you. We talked about, here's a sheet that you could use to kind of give you your positive affirmation to get through the number of calls that you need to do on a daily basis. This is your call sheet to make sure you get the right information about the clients that you're talking to. And then the final thing I would tell you is notes. Thank you notes. Most people don't do them anymore. Most people don't even know where the post office is. If you do them, it will set you apart from other people who are doing what you're doing, all right? Finally, I'm gonna, and I'm sorry, you're gonna have to aim high, you know, shoot for the moon and see what you can do. I think that's always the most, success is how far you wanna go, okay? So whatever you wanna aim for. The one thing I would remind you, there is back here, when you can't think of anything or anywhere when you're sitting down to prospect, I think this is a great little list to look at, and it's on page 425.
Oh, garage sales, let's go.
Absolutely, absolutely. And wear your name tag, okay? Because what I would tell you, if you do nothing else, look at this list and say, okay, what are some things that I'm interested in? Get involved in those one or two things, and think about if you're sitting in front of, you're ready to prospect and you're like at a standstill, don't know what to do, pull this list out. Because there's all kinds of opportunity here for you to find people to connect with.
Yeah, you know what's not on this list? Donut shop.
No, but it's got enough restaurants on it.
She left it up.
Yeah, I left them off on purpose. Okay, well, I think that's it. If you guys wouldn't mind, you know, one, if you could, there's a little thing in the back, Ignite correction and suggestion log. If you could just write, you know, if there's things that you would like done differently, if there's, you know, material. I'm sorry, I'm not very good in covering the book. I just talk from what I know. But anyways, we appreciate, you know, your participation. Please give me just some feedback on, you know, what you liked, what you didn't like. And then I would tell you, go out and do it. I mean, actively participate. You're supposed to take your phone and start calling people right now. You can leave right now, go to your office, shut your door for 2 hours and do this. And I think you'll see success in just those 2 hours.
Cheryl, Mo Anderson, now I know where she got it. If you don't know Mo Anderson, you better know her. She is fantastic. She is Miss Keller Williams to me. Here's what she told us 2 years ago at ALC Clinic. My attitude is that every person I talk to has a paycheck stapled to their forehead. And it's my job to go and get it. I'm not going to lose it. I'll do whatever it takes to get an appointment. I don't, and I just saw it, Chris Keller wrote it. Now think about that.
It's true.
Yeah.
And people have real estate needs. Everyone has real estate needs. It's not, they may not be anything, I mean, they do, they may not know it.
And sometimes, yeah, I was gonna say, sometimes they don't know, and it's our job to reveal that to them, uncover it in conversation or some sort of reaction to it.
Does anybody else have any other questions?
Just on the thank you note, when are you giving people thank you notes? Is that after you've had a long, good conversation, or not just when you're just touching people, right? Or
I write a thank you note whenever I think it's necessary.
Right.
I would say over thank you than under thank you.
Right.
All right.
thank you that we talked today, or I mean, that's what you're doing thank you notes?
Thank you
Maybe
for your time.
For their time, for the information that they gave you. I'm not as related. Mark always told me 5 a day. I would tell you I don't do 5 a day. I probably do 1 or 2 a day. But
So it's not even necessarily a thank you note in some cases. Some cases that might just be a note. You're not really.
it could be. It could be, you know.
I enjoyed talking to you.
For
today.
example, they told you that their daughter was trying to get into PA school. It could be a note about, hey, just want you to know we're thinking about your daughter. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be a thank you
Right.
note. It can be a
Just
note.
a community.
Yeah.
It can be an email too. Sometimes I've
Absolutely.
used the email, but I always use a thank you note at a closing. I always do.
I do too.
Every cooperating agent, the title company, the mortgage company, anybody that helped, because they're the people who are gonna send you business.
Oh, I was referring, I thought you were talking
I know,
about.
you are. You're talking about
prospecting.
Both.
Yeah.
Well,
Both.
it's both. A thank you note can go to a vendor,
That's right.
okay? A thank you note can go to a friend because you know something that's going on in their life. It isn't a thank you note, it's just, I would call them notes. Sometimes it's a thank you, sometimes it's just,
Have you
hey,
put
wanted
your
to
business
touch
card
base.
in those?
Yes.
Every one of them, you put your business card in that.
Right.
Does anybody else have a question that?
A couple, just really quick questions. One is not so important. just quickly, do you use specifically the Keller Williams database and the Google, or the Google database? But the more important question is, walk me through, again, the inspirational story, your timeline between your 200,000 a year and your 3 million a year. When did you start? That's the most,
How much time do we have?
Yeah, just there's
Yeah.
your 2-minute story.
Yeah.
Or you
Well,
want-
my story is this, and I say this because you guys are all where I was 2 years ago, because on a listing appointment, they love to throw out that, well, you've only been in the business, blah, 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 right? Because you don't know anything, you've only been in here a year, blah, blah, blah. And you need to take what you have of value, what you've done in your past. I have years of experience in sales, and I've been very successful in 3 different venues of sales. I used to market and strategize about multi-million-dollar hospitals. I think I can figure out how to strategize about your home. It's personal. This isn't so personal, but this is personal. So that's the first thing I say, okay? So you need to figure out that story for you guys. What is it that is your gift that you can bring to the table? Because that's gonna come up. They're gonna say it. You better be ready for it. So what can you bring them? Right there. The second thing I would tell you, from 200 to 300 or 3 million is this. I know from my past history that it's all about people, okay? It's all about people and connections, right? The one thing I did all last year, because I had nothing else to do, because I didn't have listings and I didn't have anything going on, is that I just called everybody I knew. And I think you need to set up your day where you have some soft calls, meaning friends that you're calling, because those are easier, okay? Friends will be nicer to you when you talk to them, okay, sometimes. Then you need the hard call. So focus on, is it going to be expireds today? Is it going to be for sale by owner? But just make sure they're not on the no-call list. Is it going to be, are you going to go walk neighborhoods? I've done that. I'm not embarrassed to say it. I go to garage sales. I've done that. I'm not embarrassed about it. Okay, you could probably say something, and I've probably done it. I will walk around in Walmart and just talk to people. And I go to the donut shop and I just talk to people. And you eventually connect with people through those different venues. And I spent 2 hours every day doing what I just told you, calling people. And that was it. And I would tell you I have 16 listing with 6 getting listed this week if Derek and I can get them done. So, and I sold one property last year. I sold 16 this year. And then the other thing that I would tell you guys, and I think this is not really said enough, you need to think through, you can't be everything to everybody, okay? And I don't think people tell people that enough. So decide what it is that you've decided you want to be good at and focus on that one thing. And I would tell you the one thing for me is that my entire life I've worked with professional people. Doctors, lawyers, VPs of companies, executives, blah, 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 those people. So I decided I'm going to be good at luxury homes, okay? That's what I'm going to be good at. I like to sell high-end homes. I enjoy high-end homes. I like to decorate. Everything about that I like. Now, I would go broke if that's all I did. I'm just going to straight up tell you that. But I know that's my one thing that I focus on and I do pretty well. So.
And Cheryl, I will, even though I disagree with her on one thing, I do use magazines. And I want to tell you the reason.
I don't say I don't use them.
I'm going to tell you the reason I use them. It is not anything except to appease my sellers.
I agree.
My sellers want to see their property, and they're not privy to the MLS, and most of